So, venerable brother, Dhamma friends, I welcome all of you to the second part, that is a question and answer session. So today Shalini is ready with the written questions and we'll start the session with written questions.
Avasarai Swamin Wahansa, most respected Bhante. Day-to-day mindfulness.
Right.
Last few days were very challenging period in my life due to some unexpected situation in working place. I realized the value of Noble Triple Gem and continuously listened and studied the Dhamma sermon series and got a calm state. Sometimes I felt I am getting some sort of energy from the natural environment to maintain my calm state too. For example, wind, birds chirping and darkness. Walking meditation. Most of the time I was able to forget all the troubles while doing the walking meditation and got a calm state. One day after spending very long hours in walking meditation, I experienced empty mind and empty body too. At that time, I felt only touch sensations of the foot. Today, when doing the walking meditation, sometimes I did not feel the touch sensation of the foot too. Sitting meditation.
Right. So actually, just to add a little bit, now you have mentioned that the body also empty, the mind also empty, but still some touch sensations were there, so that means it is not empty. And today you have mentioned that it is also becoming empty. So this is an interesting phenomena that Buddha mentioned in the Chula Sunyata Sutta. So it's emptiness is kind of a relative term. So in the Buddhist teachings, it is not a kind of an absolute emptiness that Buddha is talking, but a fair of relative emptiness. So he is giving a very easy to understand simile, like when we were in the city, when we were in the town, and we have to go through the hustle, bustle of the town, maybe a lot of sounds and noise and all that, and kings, queens, all that are there. But when someone is arriving in the monastery, the forest, so all of that are not available. But in the forest, still something is available. So many monks are there. So Buddha is talking at that time about the Migaramātupāsāda in the Sāvasti, Migaramātupāsāda. So there are many monks are there. So basically, it is not empty of monks, but it is empty of the hustle and bustle of the city. So likewise, he keeps on explaining that phenomena. So when we experience certain kind of an emptiness, but we again can understand something is still available, something is visible, sensible, it is not empty of that. Anyway, we are going further and further refinement, so more and more things can become refined and empty, but still, even at the best type of emptiness. So best type of emptiness is the arahantship. In the Chula Sunyata Sutta, Buddha takes us to that. Best type of emptiness he is defining, telling it is completely empty of the raga, completely empty of the dosa, completely empty of the moha. So any kind of friction coming through raga, dosa, moha of those asavas are not there. But still this body is living. So still the body is living, the six senses are operating. So as a result of that, there is certain kind of a friction available because we are maintaining a living body. So therefore, it is not that we have to become completely unconscious. Rather, we can understand, okay, now mind is not being tormented by the defilements. Whatever the torturing, whatever the hardness, whatever the kind of friction coming through lust, hatred, delusion, or on the other hand through the fetters, kamasava, bhavasava, avijjasava, those are not there now. Completely empty of that, but still since we are maintaining a living body, we may have to experience certain kind of a friction coming through the body. So that kind of a realistic stage that Buddha is discussing with respect to emptiness. Yeah.
Sitting meditation. Last few days, most of the time, sitting was started with few breathing and vibration of the elements. However, I was able to identify the empty mind too. Today, my sitting was started with darkness, and most of the time I enjoy the day without thoughts. Based on my experience, I understood that there is nothing in the real world, and based on our thinking pattern and habit, we can create a world to protect I, me and mine. Dear Bhante, I wish to get some more advice.
Yeah, definitely. So that is what Buddha is particularly emphasizing. So when we are ignorant, when our minds are too much fabricating, so we create many things, and based on our experience, we create a world, we create a self, we create our siblings or parents and all that, this and that. So it's a huge burden. But on the other hand, once we are into the Vipassana, so slowly all that whatever labels, different kinds of conventions, we understand as mere conventions. It is not that we are denying the conventions or we are attacking the convention, but we understand convention as convention. What is its purpose? What are its limitations? So once we understood that, then we have the capacity to keep the mind free from conventions. So in that sense, you may understand, okay, everywhere it's kind of an emptiness. It is empty of self, empty of what belongs to self. Sunyamidang attenava attaniyenava. So that's the kind of definition Buddha is giving for emptiness. Sunyamidang attenava attaniyenava. That means empty of a self, and again empty of what belongs to a self. So here also there is no self and nothing belongs to a self. Outside also there is no self and nothing belongs to a self. Entirely empty. So it's a very interesting area actually. So probably I might have already mentioned this one interesting question asked by Venerable Mogaraja in the Sutta Nipata, Parayana Vagga. So it's Venerable Mogarajan is a very educated and well-versed person coming from a different tradition, and he is asking from the Buddha, Bhante, how one has to live so that the Mara will not catch him. So the Buddha's answer is talking about the emptiness. It's a beautiful verse. Mogaraja sada sato. Sunyato lokang avekkasu Mogaraja sada sato. Attanu ditting uhacca evam machu tarosya. Evam lokang avekkantang machu raja na pasati. So Buddha is mentioning Sunyato lokang avekkasu Mogaraja sada sato. You need to look at the world as empty, sada sato, every time with mindfulness. It's not merely hypothetically, dogmatically we are saying it is empty. Rather, it's a kind of an insight. So you have that insight. Now you are expanding that insight every time with mindfulness. Now you are looking at the whole world as empty. And attanuditting uhacha. And while maintaining such kind of an understanding, you need to extract the view of self. So the point is, whenever we have a self, when we feel a self, it is not empty. We have something, we have a self. On the other hand, when we have something outside, there is something or someone outside. Again, it is not empty. But the theory is telling, okay, it is empty of self and what belongs to a self. So if we properly understood, okay, there is no self, there is nothing belongs to a self, then even outside, we can come to that emptiness. So while reflecting like that, you can extract the self-view, attanuditti. So in one sense, we can call it as the sakkaya ditti, where with respect to different aggregates, we are attributing a person. That also have to be abandoned. And in a more deeper sense, we are talking about the asmimana, the conceit I am, a kind of a little, very minute kind of a conceit existing in all of us, that there is a person, but we don't know where it is coming from. still sense of I is there. So that little sense of I also has to be uprooted. So the base is actually the emptiness. Attanuditting uhacca evam machu tarosya evam lokang avekkantang machu rajana passati. So if you are able to look at the world like that, then the Mara can't find you. So whenever we are making a self, we are attributing a self, we are behaving as a person, Mara already finds us. Mara is already caught us. But whenever we are maintaining a mindset where there is no person kind of a self, and as an insight also that one can understand, okay, there is no person here, no person outside, nothing belongs to a self, nothing belongs to a self even in the outside, then Mara can't find it. It's a very interesting area to practice actually. So if you are practicing Vipassana and able to maintain an unattached mind, non-grasping state of mind, so it can be further emphasized using this kind of a practice. So you don't need to go through little by little practicing Anapanasati and other Vipassana techniques to achieve it. Rather, you can immediately inject this theory. Because already you have the capacity to maintain the mind in emptiness, but you are emphasizing it, further sort of reinforcing that understanding, telling, okay, nothing, there is no self, nothing belongs to a self. Yeah.
May I ask a question on that?
Sure.
So, no self means when you are Rahat, is it?
Not yet. Now here, so Buddha is talking about kind of a practice. It is not that you become already an Arahant. Actually, once one become an Arahant, so it is obvious, and for him it is naturally that understanding may be there. But here, before that, so it is Buddha in a way giving it as a kind of an advice, as a kind of a guidance, kind of a direction. So through our practice, to some extent, to limited extent, we have experienced that, but not yet to the complete level. So Buddha's advice is a kind of a trigger or motivation to enhance that understanding and dwelling in that emptiness longer time. So still he is not an Arahant. So the practitioner is not yet an Arahant, but he is motivated by the statement given by the Buddha, so that you can maintain the emptiness for a longer time. You are more and more motivated, you are more and more thorough in it, and very much like you are able to consolidate in it. So being like that, slowly you are abandoning this Attanuditti, the self-view, you are slowly abandoning. Once it is done, yes, you are an Arahant, okay, empty.
But your self-view is there even after Sakkaya Ditthi is not there.
Exactly. So that's an interesting point. So abandonment of Sakkaya Ditthi does not really mean you are totally free from the Asmimana. You can refer, I think we discussed already the Khemaka Sutta. So the whole theme of Khemaka Sutta is that. So Venerable Khemaka is a non-returner, but when the other monks are asking, he is saying, yes, I can't find a self in any of the aggregates, but still I have the sense of I. Yeah. Yeah, so according to the teachings, actually now we all know about the 5 aggregates, right? The form aggregate, feeling aggregate, perception aggregate, formations aggregate, and the consciousness aggregate. Now we all are sitting here. So each one of us may feel, I am sitting. Okay, each one of individually we feel, okay, I am sitting, I am listening, I am talking. Particularly with respect to the body, we attribute a person, we attribute a self into the body, particularly. And when I am here in the body, and there are my belongings also. Okay, this is my phone, and this is my handkerchief, this is my robe, this and that. So there are many things belong to a self also. Those are also physical. So the all physical matter contributing to the generation of an I, promoting a self-view. So all that comes under the, with respect to form aggregate. We are still talking about the form aggregate. Say, when you are going in front of a mirror, so you can see your figure, you can see your face, you can see the whole image. Immediately you can say, here I am, now I am pretty old. So previously I was really beautiful, now I am very weak, now I am pretty old. So with respect to what? With respect to the form. With respect to form, there is a sense of I. So that is actually, with respect to form aggregate, likewise, Buddha mentioned four different ways of attributing a self. Either immediately telling, okay, this body is myself. I am the body. That's the immediate kind of a direct identification. Other thing is, say, I am a big thing, but in that self, body is one part of it. Body is a part of that big self. There are other parts belonging to the self, but body is another part. The other one is like self is a big one. Inside that big self, this body is inside that self. Or inside the body there is self. So likewise, that typical denominations. So likewise, there are 4 different possibilities for the availability of a self with respect to body. So similarly, he explained with respect to feelings, with respect to perceptions, with respect to various thinking, thoughts, intentions, and with respect to our cognition. Say, through ear, eye, nose, tongue, body, mind, we continuously recognize, we continuously cognize. So that cognition part also contributes a self. I am the one seeing, I am the one hearing, I am the one listening. So likewise, so all these different sense-related activities we are attributing to a self. So likewise, all these are different forms of Sakkaya Ditthi. So therefore, altogether 20 types of Sakkaya Ditthi, 20 possibilities of Sakkaya Ditthi. Per aggregate, 4 possibilities. Per aggregate, 4 possibilities, 4 into 5, 20. So fairly comprehensively, Buddha explained the Sakkaya Ditthi. Yeah. Sorry? Can you come please forward? Yeah.
Bhante, you said there are 20 type of Sakkaya Ditthi.
Right.
Is it possible to explain one pertinent to one particular aggregate?
That's what I take.
There are 5, you said that. There are 5 for
I took
each.
the form aggregate. I took the form aggregate.
Yeah.
So that's why, say you are going in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
So what you see is not your mind, no?
Yes.
You see the body.
Yeah.
But when you see the body, you, rather than saying it is my image,
Yeah.
we are not even telling like that, right? We say it is me. In front of the mirror this is me. So immediate identification with the image as a self. Or else one can say that this is my image, this is my body image. Still, if there is telling, if we were to tell, okay, this is my body image, that indicates inherently there is an I. Yeah, another way of I. So likewise, either body belongs to a self, or self and body are the same, direct identification, or self is a large one and inside the self there is a body, and within this body, somewhere in the heart or brain or somewhere there is a self. So likewise, there are 4 possibilities. Buddha talks about the Sakkaya Ditthi with respect to form aggregate, with respect to Rupakkhandha. Now you need to understand similarly for feelings aggregate, perceptions aggregate, formations aggregate, consciousness aggregate.
Yeah. So basically, mean to say that it's a view based on or centered on I.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Based on a self.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we used to listen to this particular concept from our small days. That's you just mentioned about Mara. About Mar.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really a force consist with certain negative kind of things like raga, dosa, moha?
Yeah, they are actually the Mara.
What it is described in Buddhism, Buddha, Lord Buddha?
Yeah, actually the concept of Mara has five categories.
Yeah.
What's that called? Pasmahamarun.
Yeah.
So five types of Maras are there. So what you have mentioned is one type.
Yeah.
That is called the Kilesa Mara. The defilements are also considered as a Mara, evil one. Okay. Then Kilesa Mara, then the Machu Mara. Machu Mara is the death. Death is considered as a Mara. Machu Mara. Kilesa Mara, Machu Mara, Khanda Mara. Skandha, the five aggregates themselves are considered as a Mara. Khanda Mara. Then Abhisankhara Mara. There are different kinds of fabrications. We do fabricate, we do many kind of manipulations. So all that intentional activities are considered as a Mara. Abhisankhara Mara. The last one is the Devaputta Mara. Devaputta Mara is the one who is in the, what is it called, Parinimmita Vasavatti. That's a celestial realm. So typically according to the Buddhist cosmology, now we are talking about 6 celestial realms, no?
Realms.
What is the Chatum Maharajika, Tavatinsa, Yama, Tusita, Nimmana Rati, Paranimmita Vasavatti. So this fellow is in the last one.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Right. You have another question? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Second question. Most Venerable Bhante, walking meditation. Walked without noting. Initially mindful of the touch sensation. Afterwards observe the arising and passing of unrelated thoughts. The thoughts become less. Mind is relaxed and walking is effortless. Sitting meditation. Start with Anapana Sati. Gradually the breath subside and go to the empty state. Once I come out of it, I notice a distant thought. Very rarely the Raga Sanya appears on the screen of the mind. But after listening to one of Bhante's sermons, I note it as an illusion and not real, and it appears without my intention. Then the letting go happens quickly. I am not scared of it anymore, nor do I reject it. I just observe without judgment, whatever appears on the mind, whether good or bad.
Correct.
Day to day. Earlier, keles used to arise mainly via ear. Now, via unkind mind, words or beautiful music, mind doesn't go to dislikes or likes. Occasionally, irritations, annoyances arise. Sometimes words are spoken sternly, but always aware of what is said. I sometimes causes issues. I noticed recently when I saw my own reflection how eye-making was happening. Thoughts such as I am old.
I am?
Old.
Old. Uh-huh.
I am old. Need to take care of my health. Mainly health-related thoughts were arising. I also noticed the sanvegaya that arose because of the attachment to myself. After accepting and letting go, the recent dukkha subsided slowly.
Right.
Mind also goes to short eye-making imaginations from time to time. After listening to one of Bhante's sermons, I thought of applying the theory I learned. The moment the image of eye-making appears on the screen of the mind, I note it as a mind-made hallucination. When seeing happens at the sanya, the letting go needs less effort. But mostly I see at the vitakka level, but doesn't go to prapancha.
Good. Yeah. So I think that's an interesting area to discuss. So we are talking of recognizing eye-making, mind-making in our practice. So may not be immediately, but as you continue the practice, you come to a level. So you are, even while you are engaged with another activity, you are having kind of an understanding about the mind. So you are talking to someone. So while you are talking to someone, is there a self arising in you? If the eye-making happens in you, are you trying to highlight? Are you trying to suppress? Are you trying to demand or such kind of different kind of a manifestation of an I? Is it happening right now in you? So likewise, so whenever we do various activities, we have to have a capacity to see whether I making happens, a self making happens, or mind making happens, any conceit happens. So these are very subtle defilements. So if it happens, then you need to recognize it and slowly abandon it. So rather than promoting it. So typically what happens is when it happens, we don't even notice it. What happens is we immediately grasp it, we immediately promote it, and we manifest as a person, and we develop a self-view. We work as a person. It doesn't mean we can't work as a person, but if you know it is a temporary role that I am playing. Say for example, you are an administrator in an office. So definitely maybe assume that you have several colleagues, several subordinates under you working. You may have to work as an administrator. Doesn't matter. But once you come back home, are you an administrator? No need, right? So you are a simple human being. So can you simply be with your children? Can you simply be with your family without being an administrator? So likewise, so whenever we are playing different roles in our, maybe at our office or at any other place, so if we know, okay, it's a temporary role that I am playing, I am not that. Even though I am saying I am a doctor while I am at the hospital when I am doing that duty. That's all, isn't it? When I am going by a car, so I am not a doctor, I am a driver. So, but anyway, you are pasting that doctor sign, and you need to have given a lot of attention, some priority, some prominence, special rights. So that's why we are trying to identify with our profession. We are trying to identify with our whatever the other skills or other belongings, many other things. So that all indicates as a self, promoting a self. So typically in general, Buddha called them as upadi. So we are making a self using an upadi. All your educational qualifications, all your maybe sports, all your any other beautification in the figure and all that, your wealth. So many things we use to build a self. If you understand, okay, at this moment I am building a self using this particular thing, then probably you can slowly abandon that. You don't need to become a victim of that old habit. If you know it is happening, then you can slowly keep it aside. Okay, I don't want to promote that self-view. I already penetrated it. I understood it. It is a kind of an hallucination, as mentioned in this report beautifully. It's a kind of a hallucination. It's kind of an illusion happened in the mind. Previously, because of our ignorance, we were preparing a self. We were functioning as a strong person, as a strong self. But more we practice, the mind, the insights will tell us, okay, there is no self in the body, in the perceptions, in the feelings, in the formations, in the consciousness. You can't find a self. Then can we operate without a self? So these are very interesting areas actually. So can you operate without a self? What do you think? So like a ghost. So things are happening, but internally you don't feel as a self. So now while you are sleeping, where is the self? Is your body dying during the sleeping? No, right? In the morning, again you wake up. Now you probably recognize, this my arms are there, head is there, still fine, no problem. Sometimes it happens in the meditation also. So while you are continuing your practice, you recognize, okay, there is no self. I mean, this is also empty, outside also empty. A little bit of frightening. Maybe you open your eyes and see whether everything's ready, everything is fine. So that is where we become a little bit of foolish in a way, because the insight practice helps us to come to that stronger insight about non-self, but immediately grasping can happen because of our Sakkaya Ditthi. So if it happens, then we quickly open our eyes and we are trying to check, verify whether the body is really good, doing really well, I am not dead. Again, you boost the self. But the insight practice actually helps us to understand there is no self, but you can maintain, if you can maintain that non-self type of behavior, the interesting way of living. Are you all dead? Any more?
Very confusing, because the aggregates, Bhante, are more in line with a sense of belonging, right?
Belonging.
But now, say, if all those sense of belongings are not there, then we are remained only with the ego, is it?
No, ego is one part of an aggregate, no? There is no
Which part
an ego
is that?
out of the aggregates. Now, ego being constructed using the facilities given by the aggregates. Now, say, for example, ego can be created with respect to the body. Ego can be created with respect to the feelings, perception, etc. So, ego is a kind of that's what ego in the other terms, the self. You can prepare a self using the aggregates. As you said, by attaching to an aggregate. But how about not attaching? If you are not attached to an aggregate, how are you making a self? Without attributing, without the help of an aggregate, can you make a self?
Then what is Manaya then, Bhante?
The Manaya, the conceit also happens with respect to the aggregates. Say you are beautiful. So when you feel that you are really beautiful, so that perception which is happening because of the bodily beauty can create conceit. Say you are well educated. That comes under the maybe a kind of a skill, coming under the fabrications, coming under the perceptions. You have a lot of accumulated knowledge, all comes under the sanya. And if you have certain developed skill, that comes as a sankhara. With respect to that, you can create conceit. So you can't have, in order to create conceit, you need to attribute it to any of the aggregates. Without aggregates, you can't have conceit.
Aggregates are not there. Like when the Sakkaya Ditthi is no more, you still have conceit, no? Because you are not Rahat, then how does that work?
That's the point highlighted in the Khemaka Sutta. That particular Venerable is mentioning, I can understand, I can know, this body is not myself. Similarly, feelings are not myself, perceptions are not myself, fabrications are not myself, consciousness are not myself, individually. But still I have a sense of I, how it happens. So that's the argument. So he is giving a beautiful simile, he is taking a flower. So when we are talking the fragrance of a flower, from which part of the flower the fragrance is coming? Is it from the petals? Is it from the leaves? Is it from the middle part? You can't say so. But the fragrance is coming. So similarly he is saying, even though I am not identifying with body as a self, even though I am not identifying feelings as a self, like that, individually, any of the aggregates as self, still I have the sense of I, like the fragrance of a flower. Where you can't find exactly this is the place emanating this the fragrance. So he's saying there's a very subtle conceit I am, there's a very subtle chanda, a little bit of desire I am, and the anusaya, the latent tendency I am. So the solution is to further continue the practice. So more you continue the practice, even that is abandoned. That also he is giving a beautiful simile. So he is giving another simile saying, during the good old days, so they have used different techniques to wash the clothes. Unlike today, you can't put it to a washing machine and put this and that. It is not like that. So you give it to a person who is doing the washing part, and they are using some kind of a smelly material even to wash the cloth. Say cow dung or this and that. Some smelly materials are there, but ultimately once that process is done, the cloth is fairly clean, but it has a smell. So how the smell is abandoned? Now Buddha is saying, this particular monk is telling, the owner, once he received the clean cloth from these washers, so in order to abandon that smell, he is putting into another fairly, fragrant kind of a box. So the bad smell will be abandoned because he is keeping that cloth in a little bit more time in a more fragrant kind of a box. So after a while he takes it out. Now the old bad smell is gone. So similarly, he is pointing out, even though you are now abandoned Sakkaya Ditthi, not taking any aggregate as a self, and not taking this aggregate as a one bundle, one huge particle. Rather, you consider it as a bundle, as a group, combination of many little things. So then the Sakkaya Ditthi is abandoned, but the conceit I am is still available. Solution is the practice. Further practice. More you refine your practice with respect to different aggregates, and more you see in a more refined way, more profound way, that further this form aggregate is not a person, this feeling aggregate is not a person, perceptions, fabrications, consciousness is impermanent, unsatisfactory, non-self. Even that very subtle tendency to self, conceit I am, conceit self, all that little part also will be abandoned. There is no any other special type of practice. Practice is the same. Completely eradicated. Exactly. One can say, okay, now the conceit I am is also completely eradicated. So that's why even a non-returner, Anagami still has the conceit I am. Asmimana is still available in him. Only the Arahant is the one who is free from Asmimana. Mana is one of the, that upper fetter. Typically there are 10 fetters. Among those 10 fetters, 5 lower fetters and 5 upper fetters. No? Mana comes as a upper fetter. Only will be abandoned by an Arahant. Yeah, we can say so. Yeah.
Thero Saranai Bhante, after appearing...
How many reports are there?
Sorry, yes. This is the third and one more.
Okay, fine.
Actually, 4 number.
Fine.
Thero Saranai Bhante, after appearing the stage of emptiness and signless for a certain amount of time, what is the next step for us to continue?
Any answer? So asking that is a fabrication. So while we are in the emptiness, what next to do is a fabrication inside the mind. So this question should not come, basically. So when you are completely satisfied, utterly contented, so how a question like this can come? That indicates kind of a very subtle restlessness in the mind, little bit of an agitation in the mind. What next? So you have a little bit of craving inside the mind, asking some more, not utterly satisfied. So once you arrive the emptiness, be content with it, be happy with it. This is it. I have arrived. Be happy, just be. Because you know that the definition of appanihita, desireless. The three possibilities of say liberation, Buddha mentioned animitta, appanihita, sunyata. So the appanihita particularly mean you are now free from desires. I don't need anything. I don't need maggapala, I don't need jhana, I am happy, contented, this is it. Then you are released. Very interesting. Now, typically, in the other hand, we need kind of a motivation. We need kind of a, driving in order to continue the practice. But the practice slowly have to give us kind of a direction. Okay, now I have arrived some kind of a area, so I can dwell there without any kind of a attachment, any kind of a grasping. So can I be here without further asking anything? Isn't it? So I am here, no attachment, not to the body, not to the feelings, not to the perceptions, fabrication, consciousness, free. So once you become free, what you need more? What do you need more?
Bhante, Lord Buddha say when you're in that signless state,
right,
to be careful not to dwell too much in that.
Correct. Understood.
So then from there,
that's why. So it doesn't mean that you become overestimating yourself. I am an arahant now. Not we are trying to tell that we all are arahant now once we arrive the animitta state or apanihita state. But the point is, while we are there, we have to have an attitude of contentment, not asking anything more. Asking anything indicates a certain fabrication inside the mind. Little bit of agitation inside the mind, kind of an unsatisfaction inside the mind. Some frustration is there. I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel complete. Something is lacking. So that is appear as a fabrication. So it is a fabrication happening in the mind. So you recognize it. Okay, it is also a thought. It's also maybe a feeling. It's also a perception. I don't need anything. This is also coming and going. So I am happy. This is also a thought maybe. So recognizing, okay, what I need to do? It's a thought. It also came, it has also gone. Again calm, again relax, again silent. So more we are free from these kind of fabrications, then we are getting closer to Nibbana. Isn't it? So what is Nibbana? Sabba Sankara Samato. Calming down all the fabrications. So this is also another fabrication, isn't it? Asking every time, what next? What should I do next? So it is a valid question while you are, continuing in certain level. But once you arrive some sort of a contented level or satisfactory level, so you have to take it as a kind of a base. Okay, establish there, be there. Don't ask anything. Now you see how your mind again kind of shifting, oscillating with respect to this baseline. So what is the baseline? This equanimity, non-grasping equanimity. Etan santang etan panitang yadidang upekka. So this is an equanimous, this sublime, this peaceful, unattached. Just be there. Take this as a temporary nibbana. Be happy there. Tadanga nibbati. So that's why it's another way of handling the defilements in a way. It does not mean that I am an already arahant. Rather, while being there, while dwelling there, mind trying to incline towards another further achievement, further position, further state, indicates you have drifted from this state. Isn't it? So you have to be here, utterly contented, be here. While here your mind naturally can attach with something, there you have to do something. Free from him. Free that attachment. So you can read this sutta 152 Majjhima Nikaya Indriya Bhavana Sutta. Same, the theme is that, no? Once you arrive this non-grasping, unattached, equanimous state, dwell in that as much as possible.
Last one, Bhante. Observation, walking meditation. I find the choir rug is better than the sand. Choir rug is better than the sand. The roughness felt on the feet keeps the concentration better.
Right. That's all. Yeah, those are the questions we have received. So all seems pretty tired. Any more questions? All are in emptiness. No question. We have 15 minutes. You have something? Yeah. Can you pass the mic?
Avasarai Bhante.
Yeah.
Actually, first report is my one.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember properly to ask the question. When most of the time I can stay without thoughts and doing the works also without thoughts. But when doing some studies, we have to think again.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a little bit burden then.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So don't study. Yeah, that's right. Cramming, memorizing. Now mind hates like. That's true. So mind doesn't want to accumulate things now. Now typically what we are used to is accumulation. As much as possible we accumulate. Now it's a kind of a disintegrating. So everything, mind doesn't want to keep anything. Mind likes to behave empty. That emptiness becomes its natural behavior. Yeah.
Nowadays my insight is, actually I want to clearly identify whether my insight is correct or not. I feel there is nothing in the real world.
Correct. Exactly. That's what the Buddha is talking now.
It's nothing is correct, no?
Nothing means emptiness.
Yeah.
So there's nothing substantial. There is no self, and what belongs to self. That is what we call nothing. So that's why sometimes the nothingness is taken as a separate samatha practice.
Yeah, that's why I want to clear one thing.
Yeah.
Nothingness
that nothingness and this emptiness has difference. So typically nothingness means, now say for example, now we have 50 people here, for example. Now 50 human beings are here, 50 people are there, 50 people are in this room. I ask everybody to go out. Now this is, nothing is here. So in that understanding, so I have the perception now, here there are people, right? People are here, individuals are here. So those individuals have gone out. Now this is empty of individuals. So the perception of I, perception of a self, perception of an individual is still available. And on the other hand, say this cup is filled with water, right? Now I am throwing it away. Now this cup is empty of water. I can say nothing is inside the cup now, because previously there were water. And now I have thrown it away, but now nothing is there. True, right? But conventional. So water is a given name, right? People are given names, conventions. So conventionally we are saying, okay, you go out, nothing is here now. You throw the water, nothing is here now. So that is the nothingness. But emptiness is not easy like that. Someone can simply say there is no self, nothing belongs to a self. Still it is a statement. You haven't realized it. So the Buddha's, this inside practice emptiness is not such kind of a dogmatic view, isn't it? It is not a theory. It is a theory. Yes, it is a theory, but you need to realize it. It is not merely superficially that you are saying, okay, it is empty of self and nothing belongs to a self as a superficial level. But through the inside practice, you need to realize it. While you are practicing, say for example, say you are practicing elements meditation. Previously, as we already discussed, we were identifying with the body. This body is me. This body belongs to me. This is I am. So this is how we started, right? So once we were continuing our practice in the elements meditation, Dhatu Manasikara, so at a given moment, probably you may understand, okay, this is merely elements. Okay, it's a manifestation of different elements. So where is I? Where is self? So now it contracts with our previous old perception. Previously, our perception was there is a self here, but after a certain amount of practice, now that insight is questioning you, asking where is I? There is no person. So this is empty, empty of a person, empty of a self. So you went through the practice. As a result of the practice, now you have an insight of emptiness. So therefore the emptiness teaching is fairly into the Vipassana, where you are experientially and practically understood it. Not merely as a theory, as a formula. So the nothingness, on the other hand, at a conventional level, you ask everybody to go out. Now no one is here, nothing is here. So it's more straightforward. You don't need to practice a lot of Vipassana to do this. It's a matter of emptying the mind of all these. Now I feel there are many people here, and you all go out. Now I see no one here. And as a samatha practice, I see no one is here. Something like that.
Here from Vipassana also, Bhante, now when closing the eyes, sometimes nothing feel exactly
in the
body as well as when giving the attention in the mind also nothing. Very blank one.
Right. Sorry, I can't remember. I can't hear.
Very blank mind.
Right.
Most of the time, very open, blank mind.
Correct.
Then at that time, if I want, I can think. I can get a breathing thoughts and breathe. When giving attention to the body, breathing will come. Or if I think about elements, I can get the element vibrations also. Like that way, whatever the way I think, I can go to that.
Can.
Yeah.
Correct. But no need.
Yeah, that's why from that understanding, I understood whatever the way we are thinking, we can create a world.
Create the world, and it's a fabrication.
Yeah,
that's why
it's a fabrication.
So, while in the silence, while being in the silence, if I want, I can think. That is also sankhara. If I want, I can have a perception about a person. Okay, he is a bad person. So it's also a sankhara, right? So now here I am fairly unconditioned. Mind is very much like pure water. But thinking, okay, that fellow is really bad guy. So you are coloring the water. So you are adding kind of a defilement to this water, right? So you are not in this purity. So likewise, whatever we do here is a fabrication.
Yeah, that is done by myself to protect me.
Maybe.
That is the
because
way.
Of still there is a self view available to some extent, and thinking, okay, there is self, I need to protect that self, and so I am doing something to protect that self. But more we understand there is no self to protect.
Yeah. If
even though we are talking, it's not easy things, right? We still have some fear. What's going to happen to me? That kind of very inherent fear is there. No? So all those are in a way defilements.
Much merit, Bhante. Nissarana.
Yeah.
So the difference between
please use the mic.
Bhante, that difference between the nothingness and the emptiness, can we just describe as a nothingness is a kind of a current status, and emptiness as a permanent status, like?
No, we can't say so.
Sure.
Rather than saying that, nothingness is more a relative term with respect to conventional reality.
Yeah.
So in the conventional reality, we have people, we have dogs, we have cats, we have gods, we have this cups, clothes, tables, this and that. All our conventions, no? We accept that, we believe that, and we all agree with that. Now I ask to throw away everything. Now this place is empty, but my understanding is same, right? Previously there were many things, but now nothing. It is not an insight.
Okay.
So I simply temporarily kept them away, telling, okay, nothing is here now. But how about the emptiness? Emptiness is more deeper. Emptiness is more deeper, saying, okay, there was a self, I am here, but you do a proper systematic practice of Vipassana. So as a result of that, now you have an insight. That insight tells you there is no self here. It is not that you are temporarily taken out as self, rather there was no self through understanding.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, yeah. You need to come forward. That's the punishment.
Hello, Bhante. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
With regards to the Anapanasati Sutta, could you provide some guidance on experiencing mental fabrications and experiencing the chitta?
Chitta. Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually the chitta is a broad term. We are commonly used for many areas. Now, if you consider, say, Chitta Patisangvedi. So, Chitta Patisangvedi, in that sense, we came through the body at the Kayanupassana section, and then we went to the feelings in the Vedanaupassana section. Now we come to the Chittanupassana section, and we are saying, okay, Chitta Patisangvedi. So, particularly Chitta Patisangvedi, we can simply say the kind of thoughts are there. So, maybe kind of attaching thoughts, loving kindness thoughts, hateful thoughts. So different kinds of thoughts are there. So you recognize the functions of the mind. Thinking is there. Thinking is one main function of the mind. So you can recognize thinking, the thoughts, as one function of the mind. Say, if you are able to recognize those are merely thoughts, what happens?
They disappear.
They disappear, exactly. So we are not identifying with them. So they become more temporarily coming and going, and I am not identifying, I am not attaching, they are coming. It's a merely lustful thought and it has gone. It's a merely a hateful thought, it has gone. So likewise now, slowly, so mind become empty. Again we are coming to emptiness. So now no thoughts almost like. But still we have some colored, conditioned nature may be there in the mind with respect to perceptions. So that's why in the Chitta Patisangvedi part, then Buddha taken it to a more subtle level. Okay, further you purify yourself. I mean, even the subtle defilements, subtle thoughts, and you abandon them. And now you are coming to a level, okay, the 4 statements like Chitta Patisangvedi, Abhipamodayan Chittam, Samadhahan Chittam, Vimochayan Chittam. So these are the 4 terms particularly highlighted there. So, Chitta Patisangvedi. So, you are being aware of the mind, different thoughts are coming and going, so now they are slowly abandoned. Then, say, Abhipamodayan Chitta, now mind become kind of a happy. Samadhahan Chittam, mind become more concentrated, calm, peaceful. And Vimochayan Chittam, you are releasing the mind. So, the mind is released. No thoughts, no fabrications, and no attachments. So where is it now?
Again, disappeared.
Exactly. So that's why. So they are actually you are asking the kind of a critical question there. So in the Anapanasati Sutta, so this is the place Buddha highlight about the non-attachment. So mind is not placed at anywhere. It is not established at anywhere, because at the Kayanupassana section, mind is now released from the body, Kaya. At the Vedananupassana section, once you go through Vedana, so the mind is free from the feelings. It is not attached to any feeling. It only now had certain thoughts. At the Chittanupassana section, you are now free from even thoughts. Now, where is it? You can't say it is now in the body or perceptions or feelings or thoughts. Nowhere in a way. So it's a completely unattached state of mind is now you are experiencing.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, in the Kaya and the Vedana parts, there's still some discursive thought.
It can, but it might not. I mean, if you are properly practicing Kayanupassana, mind also may have become more calm, more peaceful, not many fabrications. But the point is, once you come to the Chitta Patisangvedi level, rather than you are deeply holding the mind, you need to release it little. You need to give some freedom to it. If it is necessary to think, let him think. But then only you can see these are also thoughts, they are also coming and going. I don't need to too much worry about them. I don't need to be afraid of them. They are coming and going. That is their nature. And slowly you are developing certain insight there also. And you are not worried about thoughts. Already the body is given up, abandoned or letting go. And the feelings are also let go of. Perceptions are also now slowly are letting go of. And ultimately nothing is there. So that's why, I mean, even in Anapanasati Sutta or in the Satipatthana Sutta, so one crux of the practice is that Anissita Anupadana. That means no association, no grasping, now mind become independent. Kind of an independent, free mind. You can't say it is now established at this particular aggregate. It is not established in the body. It is not established in any outside object. It is not established in any kind of a perception, any kind of a feeling, and no thoughts either. Mind is not thinking. Mind is silent. So that's why in the Anapanasati Sutta, that freedom part, independent type of mind is highlighted at the Chittanupassana, the last point. The Vimochayan Chittang Asasisamita Sikkati. So you are freeing the mind. So you are practicing by freeing the mind. You don't need anything. You don't need to attach anything. I don't need to even think. Mind is completely kind of unconditioned. Yeah.
Stutivante, thank you.
Thank you. So you told me Stutivante, no? I said thank you. Okay. Okay then. So thank you very much for interesting questions. And in a way, today some deeper questions are there. Some are there in that practice, and I'm happy that you all are trying to achieve it, trying to talk about it. It's something interesting, and it is something possible. Just don't think that these are deep things. I can never find it. I can never achieve it. It's not like that. So slowly, as you are continuing the practice, one day, so we may be able to feel it. We may be able to sometime experience it, even for a short period. It gives us kind of an encouragement, kind of an inspiration. Okay, we'll wind up here. Thank you very much. Everyone, sunlight. Verification. Yeah, it's a kind of a Vedalla. Yeah. Karnisam. That's why I mean. In the Vedalla Suttas, Chula Vedalla, Maha Vedalla. So this is kind of a explanation. I mean, different questions are there into a particular theme and keep on asking different questions and interestingly answering them. Uh-huh. Good. You can use the mic. Yeah. So you can use the mic, please. You can use the mic. He's still not getting it. Sorry? Can. I mean, if time permits, we can fill the remaining time with this kind of a discussion. No harm. Yeah. Thero and Sanai.